Alhamdulillah, as I mentioned, today, as part of the Atlas.ti Exploration for Qualitative Analysis webinar series, we are going to cover module number 3, okay, on the topic of segmenting, commenting, and coding. We have already covered 2 modules so far. Okay, module number 1 is on the conceptualization of CADAS versus manual analysis. Okay, CADAS means computer-aided qualitative data analysis software. As such, Atlas.ti that we are demonstrating and we are learning, okay, as opposed to manual analysis. In module number 2, we learn how to set up a project in Atlas.ti. We have added the various types of documents into our project. We group them accordingly based on their shared characteristics. And today we are learning that the project is already there. Okay? What we want to do is we want to start working on the data in the project. Okay? But before I begin, I would like to address one question by one of our participants. Is she would like to know any sample articles, journal articles that actually report using Atlas.ti software. Okay, so I would like to draw your attention to Dimensions.ai is another page that we can search for articles. Some of you might already be aware of this free search website for our articles. Okay, first one, let's go to Google Scholar. Click on these 3 icons over here and we're going to come to advanced search. Okay. Here at the advanced search, we can find any articles using our search term with all of the words or with the exact phrase, with at least one of the words or without the words. So apart from going to Google Scholar straight away in order to key in our wordings over here, okay, for example, okay, all right, we can also type the keyword in order to get the articles, but in order to make it more advanced, more specific to the keyword that we want, we can go to advanced search and you can type here with all of the words, or I can also type in Atlas.ti, for example. With all of the words, maybe it is my area. Okay, maybe I want to do a search on cloud computing, and then suddenly there is the word Atlas.ti. And we can search anywhere in the article, or in the title of the article. I would assume in the title of the article, the findings would be very much limited. Okay, see? But if I go to anywhere in the article, I could find articles which have used the words Atlas.ti together with any keywords that I want. Okay, I put my own keyword for my own research, and then I will also have the Atlas.ti keyword over here. Now I can copy this and I can come to Dimensions, access for free over here, www.dimensions.ai. Okay. I can either do search in the full data or in the title and abstract only. So if you want to limit it to the title and abstract only, you can just type in, tick at the title and abstract, or is the entire document. If I don't type anything here, you just go here just to show you. Dimensions.ai will run through 111 million plus publications, 1.5 million datasets, 5.4 grants, patents, clinical trials. So, but because this is the free version, so I'm using the free version, I also would like to suggest that you try the free version as well. From publications only. Okay, it allows search on the publications only, but the coverage is still quite a lot. Okay. You can also use Boolean operator and or here. Okay. I'm going to do on the title and abstract only, just to search it. Straight search. Oh, sorry. Enter. it will come up. All articles using in the title or in the abstract, the wordings that I want, for example, cloud computing, as well as Atlas.ti. Okay, so much information that I can get. Okay, survey on cloud computing, qualitative data analysis, mobile cloud computing. Okay, so many articles that we can test on our own keywords. So you can test this on your own keywords as well. Okay, in order to get the example articles. Okay, let me just go very quickly to test one. Okay, more. So in the full article that is mentioning about, see, in the abstract, okay, the title is Cloud Computing Adoption Reference Model, and they also use the word Atlas.ti here. So we can limit it to be in the abstract only, cloud computing, Atlas.ti in the abstract. So many options that we can use, okay, for the purpose of our search of the articles. I would suggest if you can go to Google Scholar using the advanced search or any online database in your university. Plus, please do not forget to use the free dimensions.ai. If it is the first time that you are searching for articles, not articles, but thesis or dissertations, you can try PQDT Open. From PQDT Open, so you can just go there and type in your keyword. More search options. Let's take a look at the title to be, I don't know, again, testing, cloud computing. Okay. I will just test on Atlas.ti lah. So because this will be any search at all. Yeah. How many theses or dissertation which is open access that we can search containing the word Atlas.ti in that particular thesis and dissertation? Also very interesting for us to take a look how they do the reporting. Not sure if it's still searching or did I click it wrong. Okay. Atlas.ti. Search. Let's take a look. Quite a lot of articles. Not articles. This one is thesis and dissertation, which are open access. 932 open access dissertations and theses found containing the keyword Atlas.ti. Okay. Of course, if you put more keywords, you can get more specific keywords based on your topic. Okay. So, but at least we can see how the authors, okay, of these thesis and dissertation report on their usage of the Atlas.ti software. Okay. Now, having shown that, I would like to get on, okay, straight away to the topic that we are covering today, which is segmenting, commenting, and coding. Now, in other words, what is it that we are doing? Okay, but if you do have any questions, I invite you to type in the chat box. Okay, Alhamdulillah. Any questions that you can type in the chat box, and I will try to address them along the way. Now, we already have a project, and in the project we already have our documents. Okay, for that purpose, I wish to bring you to my own project. Okay, the exact same project that I have created last time during our module number 2, and I have 7 documents so far. I have native documents as well as I have some from bibliographic reference managers. Apart from that, I also have in my Atlas.ti Mac project the same documents. I have native documents in the form of video, DOC, PDF, and I also have 4 from my bibliographic reference manager import. Okay. Now, before we begin, okay, I wish to bring you to our Should I give it here? Okay, here, this one. Okay. This is also shared with everybody, which is the mind map of what is it that we are covering in this module number 3, okay, on segmenting, commenting, and coding. We begin with the overview first, okay, the concept of NCT. Okay, ever heard of NCT before? Noticing, collecting, and thinking. Okay, we're going to take a look at the overview of now you have the data. What is it your first thing that you're going to do? Okay, and number 2, we're going to go for segmenting or creating quotations. In Atlas.ti, the highlighted sections, we call it as quotations. So segmenting, you're breaking down the data into smaller chunks. Okay. And then we're going to go for commenting. We're going to comment on the parts that we have already highlighted. And then we're moving on to coding. Okay. Now, first thing first, let's go to our this one. Okay. NCT model. So what is it? Okay. It is short form for noticing, collecting, and thinking. Why? Because the data that we have in front of us, they are diverse. Okay, there are a lot of data, maybe. Okay? So the data that you have, what is it that you do? Very often people say, yeah, you flip through the data and then look to find to see if there is any pattern of discussion or not in the data. Okay, but in other words, what you are doing is you are noticing things. Okay, and while you are noticing, your mind is collecting any information that is having its own pattern. Some could be having shared characteristic. Some should be could be okay, having another shared characteristic. Okay, and while you are noticing things, you are also thinking about the things that you have found to be sharing the same characteristics. Okay, now I wish to draw you to the attention. I wish to draw your attention to one article, the link that I have also provided in our Telegram group. Okay, an article written by Dr. Suzanne Fries. She is actually a master trainer in Atlas.ti. She also wrote the book on qualitative data analysis with Atlas.ti. She came to Malaysia in 2010. Okay, if you remember the story that I told you about, she came to Malaysia in 2010. At that time, I was the participant. Okay, so I was thinking, yeah, I want to know about Atlas.ti, so I jumped into a class and see where it got me because I become so excited about Atlas.ti. That was why I proceeded, okay, to learn and to implement it for my own research. Now, Dr. Suzanne Fries, she was talking about NCT, okay, noticing things, collecting things, and thinking about things. So you can actually go through the article, but I just wish to demonstrate, okay, the part that is the diagram, okay, mentioned here. It is this one. I'm just going to make it bigger. Okay, now? Okay, yes, I can. Okay. Okay. First thing first, when we are having our data in front of us, okay, we prepare the data files, we do the project setup, it is there in front of us. Okay, what do? We start to read the data. Okay, when we read the data, we start to notice things. Okay, when we have the data, we start to notice things. Yeah, it is multiple types of data that we have in front of us, but there seems to be some meaningful information inside that have shared characteristic. Yes, some of it with purple color. Yes, some of it circle green color. Some of it this is not square. I think this is a rectangle. Yeah, rectangle, green color. And here is the diagram where it's blue color. Some has orange color. So what do you do when you see a lot of information and some shared characteristic? You will start to collect things and put into their categories. Okay? Put into their categories. For example, you're going to categorize the blue colored weird icon together, the purple colored together, so the green colored, the orange colored together. You start to collect things. So you are actually coding the data. The first thing is you have the data, you code the data. Meaning you take a look at the data, you give it a specific label name. From that label name, you will now sort it. okay, sort it and structure the data according to its own categories. And then it might happen that you recode the data first because of some overlappings or redundancies that you may find. But at the same time, you are also thinking about how to relate the blue colored points with the orange colored points with the green colored points. So from there, you are going to use a lot of features inside of Atlas.ti, okay, for the purpose of discovering the patterns, the processes. So while you are thinking of the diverse information inside, okay. So one morning, we open our Atlas.ti software. What we want to do is we want to find the definition. While you are looking for the definition, definitely, okay, you can find what is the definition of sport. Sport, S-P-O-R-T. It's very uncommon that you go through the data to find all the definition only, because you will inevitably bump into other concepts as well. This one is talking about sport. That was talking about indoor sports. That one is talking about exercise. That one is talking about the government initiatives. So there are so many things that you will find. Okay, so many things that you will find along the way. Meaning, it's not only you can target your mind to do one thing, because inevitably you'll be doing other things as well. So that is why while you are thinking, okay, you are actually discovering different patterns. Why is it? From my reading of my data, I found that my participants are prone towards one thing, while the others are prone towards another thing. Okay, for example. So that is the whole idea behind NCT, because only when you achieve this stage that you are discovering the patterns, start to take a look at the sequence, or you start to take a look at the shared characteristics, how you want to connect the ideas, is when you will proceed with the report writing. Is everybody with me so far? Okay. I hope I'm making sense. Okay, over here that okay, I'm a lawyer. I spend to speak a lot, but I try not to use difficult legal terms. Okay, so I try to explain as basic as possible. So based on that, let us do some exercise. Okay? The topic of our research is animal kingdom. Please take 1 minute to go through this visual that you have in front of you, okay, and see what do you notice in the image, because now we are reading our data, we start to notice NCT, we start to notice, and then we want to collect. Once we want to collect, we want to think. Okay, let's do this exercise. 1 minute. Okay, in general, it looks like an illusion. It's a jungle. Yeah. And Ustaz Ahmad Sabri mentioned that it is, let me just go to the chat box here. Quantitative observation. Good, good. You are following my thinking that the same set of data, we can take a look at it from the qualitative perspective. We can also take a look at it from the quantitative perspective. Okay, there are many different animals. Very good. Okay. Group of animals, different types of animals. Good. Okay, couples. Couple. Yeah. Oh, that I did not notice that earlier. Earlier on, couples. Okay, most of the animals, they are with couples together with family. Some even have their kids around. Okay, the father, the mother, and the kids. Okay, many of them have their own couples. Okay, couple giraffe, couple zebras, couple flamingos, okay, for example. An animal kingdom, that is our topic. Okay, good, very good. So now, the first thing that we do is the literal or the express observation that we can see. What is it that we see? We start to describe things. Okay? When we are describing things, can you see any pattern or not? Some of the examples, some of the answers given by our friends today, okay, some of them have come to the stage that you are noticing things and you are collecting the information, okay, and then you start to put them into categories, okay, which is good. some of them have mentioned, we could see generally it's an animal kingdom, but what is it that you can find inside? Some of them are couples. Okay, I did not see that, which is good. Some there can be mammals or carnivores is also a very good answer. Okay? Because mammals or carnivores, we don't see it straight away. But when we realize that they are animals with different backgrounds or different nature, okay, from there you are starting to collect things. Okay, you don't only notice, that's a lion. Okay, a lion eats other animals, for example. That's a giraffe. Giraffe eats leaves, okay, for that matter. You even see insects. Yes, I also did not see insects at the front of the picture. Okay, this seems to be a grasshopper. Yes, somewhere here. Okay, all right. Okay, good, very good. Now, when you move on, because some of you have already moved on to the collecting, okay, collecting NCT. Now you start to think, how are you going to structure your report if the topic is animal kingdom? How are you going to categorize? Now, I ended up in this exact situation last time. My research was on implications of ICT adoption in the courts, okay, in the Malaysian courts. So there are voluminous data that I got from the literature, from the interview, from the fieldwork, from the documents that I got from my interview participants. I was literally drowning in data because I have so many things. It was actually me not practicing NCT because NCT, I just notice things. Yes, I notice, but this information are disjunctive from one another. I do not know how to connect them. Of course, with the help of my beloved supervisor, okay, she and I sat down, okay, and she also guided me on the various ways in which I can categorize my codes, okay, categorize the data that I have. Either it's from the procedural aspects of the court system or from the various ICT applications or the various implications of ICT. So different ways make me thinking. Yeah, I did not see that before because I have so many data. That is the situation that I was drowning. So in order to prevent my friends here from drowning as well, okay, I would like to implore upon everybody that we are supposed to start thinking how to categorize our data. Okay? How we're starting to see any shared characteristics from our data so that essentially we can move on from not only noticing, we can move on to collecting the information and we can think how to relate. An example categorization that we can do is based on the eating styles of the animal. They could be mammals, they could be herbivores, they can be carnivores. For example, maybe omnivores, some of them. Okay, badak sumbu kan. I think the hippopotamus could be omnivores for that matter. They can eat animals, they can also eat vegetables. Okay, for example. Thank you, Stars. Okay, that's actually not hippopotamus, that's probably a rhino. Okay, definitely it's a rhino. Thank you for correcting me. And anyway, the idea behind this is when we take a look at the data, you must try to categorize. You must still think, okay, go beyond noticing only. Yes, I noticed this. So what? So move on to, yes, I noticed this are connected to another idea. And from that connection, I noticed that this is the way I can structure it to be in my finance chapter. So it has always been my advice for my course participants as well as my students. I advise them when you are analyzing the data, make sure, please try as best as possible to try to visualize how you want to put it in the findings chapter straight away. Okay? I do not want you to do the analysis without any proper structure. At least you will know that you categorize your data using specific things, okay, using specific concepts that should be available, that should be reportable in your finance chapter. Okay. That's good. The answer by writing is visualize how to structure the data, visualize how you want to structure the findings in the thesis. Okay. Now, having said that, I would like to, where is this? Okay, okay, good. Because we're still here. What I want to do now, okay, before we go now, we want to identify the data section first. Okay, identify the data section first. I think this is what I want to do. Okay, let us move on to the second part of the, just make it bigger. Okay. Segmenting. Okay, the first part is I want to talk about NCT. Okay, the second part is I want to talk about segmenting. So now you're moving on to take a look at your data and you want to break down the data into smaller chunks. Methodologically, this is called determining the coding frame. Okay, determining the coding frame, meaning you want to decide what is the size of your quotation. You want to determine what is the size of your coding frame. I have seen friends, I have seen past research as well, doing coding line by line, meaning they take a look at one line, they label it accordingly. They take a look at another line, some of my friends or some of the past research, they do it based phrase by phrase. Okay, it means they take a look at, yes, what does this phrase mean? What does this phrase mean? What does this phrase mean? Okay. I also have friends doing sentence by sentence. I always do sentence by sentence. Why? Because I practice myself to do the transcription based on the complete sentence by the participants. Okay? In another situation, very seldom, but it's also happening, people are doing it by way of para by para. Yeah, meaning paragraph by paragraph. So each time they want to quote in the finance chapter, it's going to be very, how shall I say, very long statements, few sentences making up the paragraph. So we do not want that, yeah, because that is more meaningful information. I have also put here, okay, one image just for us to better understand the coding frame. Segmenting is breaking down things. In Atlas.ti or methodologically, it's called creating quotations, meaning you want to find the statements by the participants, okay, based on the coding frame. Okay, now here, let us practice how to do breaking down the data into smaller chunks. Okay, breaking down the data section into smaller chunks. Now, we're not thinking about what does that line mean yet. We're learning how to do the highlighting first in Atlas.ti. Okay? In Atlas.ti, okay, this is an example of an article, okay, PDF format. And when I want to take a look at line by line, this is like this. I do the selection, I highlight it, okay, but this is not yet captured as a quotation. Okay, why? Because when I move away, click on somewhere else, that highlighting will disappear. I do not know if I have already highlighted it or not. If I were to use hard copy documents, I hold that hard copy documents in my hand, and when I do the highlighting, I move away, I do another highlighting, it's there. Okay? It's fixed. The highlighting is fixed. But in a computer system, you highlight it one time, but you do not tell Atlas.ti that you want this as a quotation. Moving away will only delete that highlighting. Okay, so we are telling Atlas.ti by way of creating free quotations. Okay, the word that we use, free quotation here. Free quotation meaning, or in Windows we call it as free quotation. In MacBook we call it code to selection. Okay, add code to selection. So in Windows, this is what we do. We will do the selection first, do the highlighting, okay? And then when you open a document, it will automatically put activate the document tab. If you can open your Atlas.ti software, In the software, you open any document at all on your left-hand side, you will activate the document tab. Far left-hand side is the create free quotation. Okay? Create free quotation feature that you can click on it. Okay? This will essentially create a free quotation from the part that you have already highlighted. As simple as that, you click on create free quotation. Suddenly, there will be a bar on the right hand side. Okay, this is the margin area and the bar will be there. Now this bar will follow how many lines that you have highlighted. If I highlight line by line, the bar will be very short. Okay? If I do it 2 lines, for example like this, and then I go to create free quotation, you will see the bar is longer. Okay? The bar is longer. But when I click somewhere else, the highlighting will still disappear. However, the coding, the quotation bar in the margin area will remain. So you can click on any bar in the margin area to bring out the highlighting section in the actual document. Okay. Now, the best part is if you have done the highlighting and then you realize that, oh, this is a very short highlighting. I want to resize the highlighting, resize the quotation. You can actually take a look. Okay, click on the quotation bar. You will see that the highlighted section is preceded by a red dot, and on your right hand side at the end of the statement there is another red dot. Here, that red dot is the marker penanda. Okay, is the marker that you can actually bring in order to revise. So you see the size has been revised, and I can also make it to be an entire paragraph so that it will be revised accordingly. Can you do that on your own computers? Yeah, I have practiced on a PDF document. Let me now practice on a Microsoft Word document. This is a .doc information. Likewise, this is very small. Let me just make it bigger, okay, so that we can see. Do the selection. Okay, for example, here, create free quotation. Okay. And another way, do another selection, create free quotation. Okay. So this is what I advocate, that we do the selection based on sentence by sentence. Okay. You do highlighting on the sentence, of course, if it is relevant, then you will highlight it. If it's not relevant, you will not highlight it. Okay? And apart from PDF and .doc, I can also do that on a video as well. Okay? On this particular video, I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger so that we can all see it. I can all see it. It's not running. Okay, so I can play the video as has already been shown.
26 years of age is Dmitriev.
As already been shown in our previous module, that the video can be played inside
the track, helping out with all the organisation.
Videos is a little bit different how to do the segmenting from PDF as well as .doc. Yeah? Why? Because video is a moving thing. Yeah, moving thing. So I can just do the selection here, for example. Do the selection on the bar itself, okay, on the wavelength that you can see on your right hand side. Okay, click in order to drag the selection that I want, and when I drop it, the system will automatically already create a free quotation for me without me giving instruction. Okay, I can do that exact same drag and drop as well. Okay, now the moment I do this automatic free quotation by Atlas.ti, you will see a number before at the beginning of the selection, a number at the end of the selection, and in the middle is also a number. At the beginning of the selection, that numbers indicate the minute, second, and millisecond the selection starts, and the end, okay, and the second one, it is minute, second, and millisecond the selection ends, and in the middle is minute, second, and millisecond the duration of that selection. Okay, and maybe you have realized it by now that we can also have overlapping quotations. Okay, I can do the selection here, okay, and it overlaps. Okay, the best part about qualitative analysis using Atlas.ti is that exact same statement you can also quote over it with another quotation and quote over it with another quotation with how shall I say it, in different layers. It can go as deep as you want, but of course, okay, the deeper that you go, more quotations that you give to it, it will you have to be answerable because you want to say why do you do that quotation, because it brings different meanings. Okay, but it's just for testing like this, then you have to answer that as well. Okay, right. Now, because video is a moving thing, you cannot actually highlight inside of this video, yeah, because you can only take a look at it. I can play it from that highlighted section only. Yeah. But when it comes here, I find that this part, I want to know the distance between these two cyclists. I cannot do the selection here because it's a moving thing. So in Atlas.ti 8, you can actually capture the snapshot by clicking on Capture Snapshot over here. The best part about Capture Snapshot is when you do click on Capture Snapshot, Atlas.ti will create a snapshot for this video and add it as my last document. Yeah, here it is. And here is the part that the person was from another. Now this is a .png, meaning I can straight away do a selection, yeah, a selection for the distance between them. Yeah, what is the distance between this cyclist and this cyclist? Can you do that on your own computer? Is everybody okay and following me so far? Okay, meanwhile, yeah, I also wish to demonstrate that for my MacBook friends as well. Okay, I can have a .doc file here. Okay, so when I say that free quotation is the terminology we use for Windows, for MacBook we use the terminology coding to selection or quote selection, add quote to the selection. Okay, so in Atlas.ti Mac, when I do that, I do the selection. Okay, I can choose quotation from selection. Okay, quotation from selection. Click on it, and exactly the same as our friends from Windows, they will also have this quotation from selection. Do another selection, quotation from selection. Yeah, I should do amendment here. This is not coding from selection. It should be quotation from selection. Okay, should do amendment there. This is free quotations as well, as per the Windows friends. Okay, do the selection. Likewise, in a PDF document as well, do that. I'm gonna hide this this. I can do the selection, quotation from selection, quotation from selection. Okay, like how our friends would either achieve it anyway. And if you're doing video as well, it's very similar to our our Windows friends. You can play the video from inside of the Atlas.ti, inside Atlas.ti itself. Yeah.
Is to in the centre of the track, helping out with all the organisation. They were jumping up and down with delight when he.
Okay. Likewise, when I do the selection here, okay, the quotation will be automatic and the numbers are there. Numbers to indicate minute, second, and millisecond the selection starts, minute, second, and millisecond the selection ends, and the duration in between. Likewise, it can also be overlapping one on top of the other. And the overlapping sections will be demonstrated in this margin area by the quotation bar. Okay, I hope everybody is still okay. Okay, let me just go. Let me put you here. Okay, Alhamdulillah. Right. Okay. Good. Very good. Apart from that, what was it that I want to share? Okay. That's it so far. And next one is we want to do renaming of the quotations. Okay, what is it that you want to rename your quotations? In Atlas.ti Mac, renaming is, I should bring this down. Can I bring this down? Okay, no, I cannot. Okay, talking to myself. Okay, actually, I'm trying to move this WebEx control somewhere because it's hiding my menu on top. Okay. Anyway, for MacBook users, in order to rename a selection, rename a particular quotation that you are doing, it is very easy. Okay, let me just go to maybe the DOC document. Okay, this DOC document, what is the name of our quotation? Meaning, what is the name of the selection that you have already made? Okay, in Atlas.ti Mac, MacBook, we have an additional feature on your right hand side over here, which is not available in Windows. This is called Inspector. Okay? On your left hand side, we have the Explorer, and then the data section and the margin area. On the right hand side, we have the Inspector. Okay? The Inspector changes depending on what is it that we click. If I click on an empty area here or on the data itself, the inspector will change to the document. So I can rename my document over here. Yeah? I can also put comments at the document section. So that is the easy part, because I want to teach you renaming your quotations, and after that we are all going to do commenting on the quotation. But I think I'm skipping that part for the Mac version, because Mac version is very straightforward. You click on a selection, you click on any part of your data, it will come up, the inspector will change to your document. You can rename it to author year format. You can also change it to case study A at a rural school, and he is the headmaster who is a male. Yeah, for example, you can put a lot of information on your name of the document. But the part that I want to talk about is when you click on a particular quotation bar, for example, like this, I click on this quotation bar and I read the selection. Let me just go use a trackpad in order to make the, okay, oh, that's so big. I can change the size, of this trackpad over here. Text size. Okay, all right. I find that this talks about breakthrough in scientific evidence. This is the part that I want to label accordingly. What does this selection talk about? What does this selection talk about? Now, at the moment, whenever you do the selection, the quotation name will follow what is it that you have highlighted. So if I highlight, although research interest on physical activity and health dates back to 1950s, so that's going to be the name of my quotation. Likewise, in Windows as well, in order to take a look at your list of quotations, you will go to the Home tab and choose Quotation. Okay, Quotation. Click on Quotation. So you will actually be opening your Quotation Manager. You take a look at how your quotation has been named. Documents 1 and 2. Document 1 is a .pdf. Okay? So when you do the selection, the name of the quotation will actually be the part that you have highlighted. Likewise, in a .doc, whatever that you have highlighted, it will become the name. In a video, it will become the minute, second, and millisecond. Okay? The one that you have already selected. Begins and ends. This is second 20 until second 34, second 48 until minute 1 and 3 seconds, okay, for example. But you can rename it, okay? For example, I will now right click on the quotation name and choose rename. Okay? This one talks about benefit of physical activity. See, the name of that quotation has already changed. So when I double click on it, it will bring me back to the original location. 1 ratio 1 means it comes from document number 1. This is the first quotation in that document. Regular physical activity contributes to your individual well-being. So supposedly the name is whatever that I have highlighted. Yeah, regular physical activity. But now the name has changed to benefit of physical activity. So it seems we can actually label our selection using the name. We can change the name of our quotation. Okay? I need to repeat this again. Okay? When we do the quotation name will automatically be using the words that we have highlighted. However, we can rename the quotations into the context in which that statement talks about. Okay, it talks about benefits, we put benefit. It talks about problems, we put problems. Okay, for example, you just give a description. I see a giraffe. Two of them, like they are couples. Okay, so what you do is I notice that this is talking about something. Okay, I notice that the giraffe is actually couples. I notice that this statement is talking about physical benefits of doing stuff. Okay, for example. So you do the selection and then you rename the quotation as how it would be. That's for Windows. For MacBook, what you do is when you click on a quotation, for example, like this, it will bring out for us the quotation name. So immediately you can just change it in the inspector here, which is, to my mind, this is very straightforward. You have the statement in the text of your data and data section. But on your right hand side, you can actually rename it. Here is talking about breakthrough in scientific evidence. Okay, so click somewhere. See, the name has already changed. Okay, click on it. Now the name of that particular quotation is breakthrough. Even wrong spelling here. Break. THROU breakthrough. Okay, in scientific evidence. Breakthrough in scientific evidence. What about this one? This one is talking about overwhelming scientific evidence. Now, what is it that I am demonstrating for you is very easy. Okay, what is it? We do the selection, we summarize what does that section talk about. Okay, what does that section talk about? So it's going to be very easy, okay, in the sense that we just tell to ourselves, okay, this selection talks about A, this selection talks about B, this selection talks about C. Okay, for example, that is renaming our quotation. If there is any questions, you can type in the chat box. Else, I am going to move on to the next slide, okay, which is first is reflecting on your reflecting on the data sections. Okay, wait. The first one is identifying the data section. You identify the section based on the coding frame that we have decided. I suggest sentence by sentence. Okay, and then we're going to go for free quotation. Okay, where we highlight and we create free quotation, and then we rename the quotation. Renaming quotation is not yet the theme. It could be the theme, it could be not the theme. Okay, because what we are doing is we are actually labeling or giving a name to that particular quotation. We do not need to think about what are the elements or what are the concepts forming our framework yet. Okay, I see some questions coming in. Is quotation is theme? No, quotation is not the theme. Quotation is the highlighted section. Apakah perbezaan penggunaan coding atau coding dengan quotation? Quotation is the highlighted section. It can be standalone or it can also be linked to somewhere else. Okay, that quotation is you can highlight it, and then you will also is either there on its own or you can link it to a specific code. Coding will be referring to it after this. Is quotation from selection is a process before we quote? Exactly, Anusuya. Your question is exactly. We do the quotations from the selection first because we do this as a process before we code. Coding is the part that we start to think what are the connections between one quote to another. Sorry, one quotation to another. This quotation relates to this quotation because they have a shared theme. So that's why we put a label in the form of codings. Okay? But before that, we read one by one, we give a description for that particular quotation. That is what we call as naming that quotation. Okay? Can we import quotes from other projects into current project? Yes, can. Sasabila, we can do that. So when we create the list of quotes later on, I will teach you how to export. And in your second project, I will also teach you how to import. Okay, very good questions. The first part is you highlight lah. Okay, in other words, this is the part that I identify the data section and I rename it. But the other part of it is I'm going to talk about commenting on the, is the rename quotation the code that the Guzman asked? It could be the code or it could also be just a description for that particular highlighting. Okay? It need not necessarily be a code. It will shorten the process of us thinking and noticing, and collecting as well when we want to take a look at the codings after this. Now, good question. Next, I want to talk about reflecting on your data sections. Now, first we do the highlighting. In Atlas.ti, the quotation name will take whatever that you have highlighted. When you find that the quotation name might not be relevant, so you are going to rename the quotation name. Okay? After that quotation name, you have a lot more information to say. You want to reflect on your data sections. What do you think about, what are your thoughts about that highlighted section? What, why, and how that quotation is relevant? You start to take a look at the connections with other ideas, and next you can also comment as to what do I need to do in relation to this particular quotation. Yeah? Or in other words, I'm just going to use a simpler term. You have highlighted a section. Why do you think this section is important? Why or what or how do you think this part that you have highlighted can actually help you towards completing, answering your research question and objective? Okay, example, okay, you can see this image here, you have highlighted, okay, so here called, okay, love, God, okay, presidential implies purpose. Our further clarification as to that highlighted section. Of course, we highlight a section. For example, I always give this example in my workshops. Okay? The example is the statement from the participants is, I like to come to study at this university very much. So what do you understand from that statement? That person could like it very much to study at that university. Another person says, I like to study at this university with tears coming down the cheeks. Okay? So what do you understand from that statement? When you do the noticing, collecting, you will also move to the beyond noticing and collecting because you find some hidden information that you actually need to attach that thinking or reflection to the particular section. Okay? For example, the first person. This person shows excitement. His bright eyes showed that he could really be happy to study at the university. So you can't put that as a quote. You can't also can, but when you put that as a name for that quotation, it could be very long. Okay? But what do you understand from that? You can put that as a comment to that quotation. That's why the idea now is commenting. Okay? Now, the first part is creating quotations. The second part is commenting on that quotation. And the third part we are moving on after this is coding. Okay, coding. So now, first thing first, what is it that you want to comment? These are all the things that you could consider putting in at the comment section. Your thoughts, what, why, and how, maybe when, okay, WH questions, connection to the other. I need to double check on this information because the respondent seemed to be not confident in answering my question. He keeps looking at his watch while answering my question, and his body language was like he does not want to stay in the interview room. Those are all the information that you can put. Okay, when this person, the part that you have highlighted, okay, that is what you can put. What do you need to do? I need to double check. Yeah, that is the part that I need to double check. I think this is contradictory to popular belief. One woman participant to your focus group discussion, that woman is around 30's age, 30 plus, and that woman says, I do not like to go shopping at shopping malls. Can you follow me or not? A woman in his 30's responded to our focus group question. Okay? She said, I do not like to go shopping at shopping malls. What do you think about that statement? Okay? Generally, I can name that section to be, that quotation, I can name it, does not like to go shopping. Okay? This not favor shopping mall. Okay? But what do you understand? What is your reflection to think about that statement by the participant? You could say, this statement is contradictory to popular belief because ladies of all ages are reported to like to go to shopping malls. However, in this COVID-19 situation, this could prove to be true because blah, 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 blah. Those are the things that you can put at the comment section. When we do that substantive amount of commenting on that quotation, in the output of Atlas.ti later on, we can generate the output together with the comment to that quotation. Are you following my sharing on commenting? Yeah? You want to put your reflections or your comments as to what is it that you think about that highlighted section. Okay? Now, there is a space in Atlas.ti for us to do the commenting. That commenting in Windows, I'm going to show in Windows first. Okay? Is everybody still okay? Okay. Thank you, Radin, for always making a summary of what I say, which is very good. I think you are also helping our friends as well. Is free quotation, we can assume as like pre-open coding. Yes, Atasha, you are asking a question on a subtopic I'm going to cover later on, but it seems that you can already NCT, noticing, collecting, and thinking. Yeah? What is it? The connection between what I'm teaching now as to what I'll be teaching after this. Okay? Exemplary student. Yeah? Alhamdulillah. Okay. And thank you everyone as well for putting in your thoughts inside of this chat box. Okay, now let's go to Windows. Okay, Windows first. This is the part that I want to put for improvement of self-esteem. This is, I'm going to create free quotation here. Now, improvement of self-esteem, it says that anyone who engages in sports activity can improve on their self-esteem. Here, anyone who engages in sports activity has been proven to have improvement of the quality of life. Okay, so this part, I want to give a comment. Okay, right click, edit comment. For Windows, very easy. Right click, edit comment. So when you do that at the quotation bar, yeah, you can right click on the quotation bar and choose edit comments. At edit comment, you can actually type in, there are a lot of ways a person could achieve improved quality of life, and one way is to engage in sports activity. Okay, I'm gonna make the size bigger. I like it to be 24, okay, so that I can take a look at it. When do I do this? I will just straight away go to insert timestamp over here, and the timestamp will be shown, meaning this is my reflection of what this person says. Apart from putting my thoughts to what this person says, you can also type in how you want to view, how shall I say this, how do you expect to write it in your report, okay, later on. Because when we are doing the selection, okay, it is the original statement by the participants. So now you are putting in your own thoughts. Rather than you repeat what that person says, okay, that person says Malaysia is multiracial. So you, in your report, it seems that Malaysia is multiracial. As mentioned by participant from school A, Malaysia is multiracial. Okay, so now you can put in your own words. Can you think about of another potential of using commenting to the quotation for literature review purpose? You have the original statement. I highlight the original statement from my literature, and then I paraphrase it into the comment section, which is actually your own thoughts, your own words in the comment section. When we create the output later on, that output will bring up for us original wording from the article, and it will also bring up for us your own paraphrase wording. Okay, can we imagine how the potential of using this comment section? Okay, Dr. Hanita asked a question. Does commenting has the same purpose with paraphrasing? It depends on how you take a look at it. I would say commenting is an alternative to paraphrasing. That is the only way that you can put your own words and link that words to a particular selection. Okay? This is the best option actually. Why? Because we do not simply want to compile everything that we have highlighted. We want to put in rich discussion into our findings based on the commenting in the to the quotation. Okay, thank you, Dr. Anita, for asking this question. I like all your questions tonight. I like everybody's questions tonight. Okay, right now, can we please create a comment to your quotation? After you do that, you will save it and close it. When you do that, you will realize that in Windows, the quotation bar now has a yellow dot. Yeah? This yellow dot on the quotation shows that there is a comment to that quotation. There is no yellow dots here, meaning there is no comment to this quotation. Okay? At 15 already. Okay. Now, if you bring your cursor to it without clicking, click on that yellow dots. Okay? It brings out our comment. There are a lot of ways a person can achieve improved quality of life, and one way is to engage in sports activity. Double click on that in order to do any editing at all that you want to do. Some editing here lah. Okay. That is how we do commenting to the quotation for Windows. For Mac, yeah, we do have 10% of our webinar series participants who are using MacBook. Yes, so I'm going to demonstrate that in Mac as well. Now, you do remember the inspector that we're talking about here? Okay. Click on a quotation and you will see the inspector already changes depending on the quotation that we have given. Okay. Now, you do not need to right click in order to add a new comment or edit comment because the comment section is already here. Okay, the comment section is already on your right hand side in the inspector. I need to double check on this because women always like to go shopping. For example only. Okay, So I can change. Can I change the font? Yes. I can change the font to be bigger. I like it to be 24. Okay, so big. Or maybe 18. Okay, here. And you also need not put the timestamp because it is already here. Okay, the timestamp is already here. So you can remember when is it that you have created it, when is you have changed it. If it is tomorrow, so it's going to be shown the date for tomorrow. If it is today, it's going to be shown the date today. Okay. This is some sort like promotion as well, but I'm not selling MacBook. But if you want to consider using MacBook as well, the interface for the Atlas.ti Mac has a lot of reduced number of clicks that you need to do as opposed to Windows. Okay? Because Windows, maybe you have to click 5 times. MacBook, you only click 3 times, okay, in order to achieve the same objective, for example. Everybody okay? Okay. Is it overload of information already? I hope you are still okay, because we are moving on to another subtopic before we leave for tonight. Okay. The topic that we're going to do is, any questions so far? No questions? Are you still following me? Or I'm alone in this meeting room? Just take a look. Okay, you're still here. Alhamdulillah. There was one time when I had this internet connection problem and I was lecturing and speaking only to realize that I have left the meeting room for around 10 minutes. And I also silent my phone. So my students was messaging, madam, you're offline. So I did not realize that. Anyway, it comes with a package. It comes in a package, right? This learning curve for new technology that we are using. Alhamdulillah, that you have not left me yet. You're still here. I feel that I am sharing a lot of things that you feel like I'm so tired. I need to go to offline. Okay, for example. Okay, all right. Anyway, now let's move on to another. This is actually the last thing that I want to share with you tonight. Even though it is last thing, there are still a lot of things inside here. Okay, now everybody in this meeting room tonight, I believe that you are familiar with highlighting and labeling, because some of you, I know you have used Atlas.ti before. So when you ask questions, I realize that you are talking about coding, you're talking about open coding, you're talking about labeling and tagging. Okay, now when we are analyzing our data, we're past the stage of noticing, collecting, thinking. Now we want to move on to see if any of these shared characteristics, we can group them together. Okay, we can merge them together. So that's why traditionally what do we do is, this is my interview transcripts, for example. I think, okay, yes, example, my interview transcripts, and you can see there are fluorescent, this is not fluorescent, I always use fluorescent colored taggings. Okay, taggings on this page, taggings on another page, on another page. What does that tagging mean? That tagging serves as a check mark so that you can come back to it, because that check mark is labeled something. Okay, probably red color, you can type here. This is the definition, this is the problem, this is the suggestion. So what is the difference? Some of you have already asked this question just now. What is the difference between commenting to the petition from coding? Okay? Codings are concepts for our research. Okay? Prof. Hafiza? Interesting. Yeah, we are going to come to Code in Vivo. Not only we will come, I hope Prof can also do that practically on your own project in a short while. This is very interesting as well. These are the various types of codings that we can do in our Atlas.ti project. Okay, but before that, coming back to what is the difference between coding and commenting on that petition? It's the same thing, because we highlight that statement. That statement says, okay, this is the statement, I like to study at this university. What is your comment? It seems that this person was showing a bright face and shows great enthusiasm when I asked him this question. Your reflection, your thoughts, it goes normally not with keywords. It is normally in longer statements just to show you again, okay, what could mean by commenting to that petition. And quotes, what are quotes? Quotes are labels or taggings or key concepts for our research. These key concepts, they are normally interrelated with one another to make up your research framework, okay? Or the items or the elements informing your research. Now, there are various ways in which we can create codes. Let me rephrase that. There are various ways in which you can get the key concepts for your research. Okay? It could be from our experience, from the literature review, from our discussion with our friends, from our working daily life. Okay? Your own knowledge, your knowledge of your families, okay? The knowledge of your families, for example. A lot of ways in which we can get the specific label names. Okay? For example, if I ask you right now, what or how can we fight? How can we control ourselves during this pandemic? Yeah? How can we safeguard ourselves during this pandemic? Okay? I am sure what is coming to your mind is we have to wear a face mask. When going out, we have to wear a face mask. We have to use hand sanitizer. We have to not clock in, but scan our attendance using My Sejahtera app or any university-based app, okay, which has been developed by our university maybe. And what else? Social distancing. Those are among the strategies that we know because it has been repeatedly reminded to us. What we know, okay, it comes from our common knowledge, it comes from the literature, it comes from newspaper reports, it comes from viral WhatsApp messages. For example, okay, a lot of people, they like to forward messages, meaningful messages for us to safeguard against this pandemic, for example. But those are the things that we know. There could be other things that we do not know. So we go and interview the frontliners. We go and interview the victims. We go and interview the survivors of COVID-19 pandemic, okay, for example. Why? Because from their perspective, we could gain more information. Or we can also just Google, yeah, a lot of Google, we have open access articles now that we can get, okay, in telling us how to safeguard. So the topic is strategies, how to safeguard ourselves against COVID-19, okay, pandemic, okay, for example. So we list down everything that we have. So some we're noticing things. Here we are noticing these are the strategies. But when you do that, you also realize there are shared characteristics. For example, what can you do at home? What can you do outside? What can you do when you're meeting a friend? What can you do when you are in a public transport? Okay, it can also be what can you do if you yourself are feverish. Okay, so among the things that you shouldn't do when you're feverish is you don't go out. Okay, for example, or try as best as possible not to be in contact with anyone. For example, so those things are the sources of information, sources that we can get information. Okay, for our research. For example, here. Now, various ways in which we can do coding. I hope I can cover this in less than half an hour because I've already taken 1.5 hours of your time. But I hope to be able to go through all of this. Now, deductive and inductive. Deductive means, okay, deductive, I think I have a slide here to explain about deductive, a deductive coding approach. Deductive begins with themes or priori concepts. Very often, if there is already an established theoretical framework or conceptual framework that you are holding on to. In other words, what are the things that you are looking for? While I am thinking, what should I be reporting in my research, in my findings chapter? I already visualize what is it that I want to find. Okay? So from there, I am already holding on to a certain theory. That theory has 3 determinants. From that determinant, you will bring it down to smaller constructs, and then you determine even smaller items, and then you will go through your data to find the evidence from your data. I give you an example. I always give this example because it seems to be very easy and applicable for everybody. The theory I'm talking about is technology acceptance model, TAM. TAM has 2 determinants. Number 1, perceived ease of use. Number 2, perceived usefulness. Perceived ease of use is a determinant when a person thinks that it is easy to be adopted, it will shape the behavior of that person to actually adopt that technology. Now, perceived usefulness is second determinant. When a person finds it to be useful for their purpose, then it will shape their behavior to adopt that technology. Okay. Now, based on these 2 determinants, I will now go through my data to find any evidence that talks about that technology is easy to be used, that technology is useful for their purpose. Now, once it is easy, there are different ideas. I can self-learn. I do not need to go training. I take a look at the manual and I know straight away how to do it. Ease of use, that is ease of use. The second one is easy. Sorry, that one is of use. This one is usefulness. I can use this for purpose A. I can use this for purpose B. I can use this for purpose C. Okay, so that is, I will go to any statement from my data that talks about each and every one of these. Are you following my example? Deductive means it begins with a framework first. That framework already have themes and sub-themes and codes so that you can go through the data to find that evidence that talks about that. Inductive is different. Inductive, you will realize deductive, the arrow comes from your right to your left. Okay. Now, inductive, the arrow goes the other way around. You have no idea. You're not holding on to any theory. You do not have any specific framework you're holding on to, but never mind, because not in all situations we can have clear picture of the things that we want. So our job is to read through the data. So the data will speak for itself. Oh, that sounds scary. That data cannot speak for itself unless it's audio or video. Okay? The data will actually tell you or give you idea of what are the labels and codings should be. For example, you take a look at the image of the animals in the kingdom. I ask you to notice what is in the image. Okay? Any similarities or differences? What do you think is the structure that we put into the report, for example? I practice with you inductive coding approach because you do not know what is the final shape of the report yet, but you will move through the procedure. Now, research, classical research methodological books emphasize that qualitative should always be inductive. In other words, you must maintain your objectivity, that when you are analyzing data, you maintain the terminology used by the participants. Then only you see what could be the theme from the data, break it down into smaller chunks, okay? And then label it accordingly. And then you take a look if there is any overlapping or redundancies, and then you merge them into specific themes. Now, deductive and inductive approaches are equally applicable in Atlas.ti. Okay? Regardless if you're doing deductive or inductive, you can actually do coding. Okay, in Atlas.ti, you can identify the section to be as such, or you can also tell Atlas.ti, this is what I want to find, so you just go through the data to find it. Coming back to what is it that I want to share with you. I hope everybody is still following me. It's late at night. Okay. If you have questions, like usual, just type in the chat box. Okay. Now, coding. I'll begin with deductive first. Deductive, I already have a clear picture what is it that I want. Okay. Example. I'm gonna open a new Microsoft Word document. Is it opening? Okay, new. Blank document, create. I'm gonna go very quickly now just to show you an example of how to tally our research question with our research objectives. Some of you from my qualitative class might already know this. So, but for the benefit of our friends who only take up Atlas.ti class, so I'm just gonna show you still. Yeah. Now, title, okay, or the topic is impacts, or shall I say, how does, oops, maybe, impacts of sports on health. Okay, can you see this? Okay, it's big. Okay, all right. It's still very small. Okay, all right. Now, then we itemize what could be the research questions and objective very quickly. Okay, so the first one is research question or research objective. And then I'm going to go to the interview questions. If you carry out interview, if you use observation or document review, so you can just put that instrument here. Question. And here is, should I have it here? Okay, I think I'm having it extra label here. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this. Layouts. Okay, so number one, what are the sports activities normally engaged by the participants? Because I'm asking my interview participants, right? So, what are the sports activities that you normally engage with? Okay, how often do you go for that? Okay, now the second research question is, what are the benefits of sports? Okay, what have you gained from engaging in sports? Okay. Third one, it could be problems. Okay, what are the problems faced by participants? Yeah, you can put the participants, their occupational role, for example, among athletes, among doctors, among students at your university, for example. I'm just going to put it generally participants. And then please share any problems you may encounter while engaging in sports. How do you overcome the problems? Okay, because normally the questions will be a lot more as opposed to the research questions and objective. Now, anyway, what I'm going to do now is I will identify why do I ask this question. So the first one is, what are the sports activities? So what I want to do is I want to know their activities. Okay, and then how often is frequency? From frequency, and then what have you gained? Okay, benefits. Problems. Okay, how do you overcome is suggestion. Okay. Now, the reason why I bolded and underlined is because I want to tell myself these are the reasons why I asked that question. So that when you ask a question, you're not simply getting that response from the participant. You want that participant to be answering exactly what you want. Okay? For example, what have you gained from engaging in sports? I want to know what are the benefits. So that person says, oh, I have a lot, full stop. That's not answering the question because we want to know the benefits, for example. So from there, we're going to put here quotes. Okay, what are the quotes? First, I'm going to put activity. Activity like jogging. It could also be football. It can also be swimming. Frequency, it could be weekly, fortnightly. So can you see the quotes are smaller items from that particular theme. The first theme is activity. What are the activities? Jogging, football, swimming. The second theme is frequency, weekly, fortnightly, monthly. Okay. Here, benefits. Benefits could be physical benefits. It could be psychological benefits. Not psychological only. Okay. Here it could be improved quality of life. Okay, for example. Problem. What could be example problems? Injury, accident, financial. Meaning, if you spend on sports, it could be very expensive and it could also be financial. Okay. Taking a lot of suggestion is take up insurance. For example, suggestion is going to be here is going to be maybe apart from insurance, how do you prevent accident? Precaution. Okay, for example, these are the quotes based on the themes that we have suggested. Now, because the codings in Atlas.ti are single layer coding, yeah, so we need to make sure that we know what are the things that we want to put. So now I'm going to put here activity, the prefixes, so that once it will be added to Atlas.ti, it will be arranged alphabetically. And here is frequency, frequency, frequency. Psychological is benefit, BFT, BFT. Here is also BFT. This will be your homework. Yeah, that's right. Dr. Suhaili is asking. It's like theme and sub-theme. Sub-theme. Sub-themes. Yeah, that's correct. That's exactly what it is. Okay, injury will be problem. Okay, you might want to take a look at what I am doing because this is your homework before we meet for the next session. Okay, I will also wish you to come up with such a table, and I'm going to share this table with you after this, but you have to put in your own quotes for your own topics. Okay, so here these are the quotes that I want. Okay, now when I do like this, it is actually, where do I get this idea from? I get this idea from my knowledge, my literature review, my background experience, my work experience, my discussion with my supervisor. Okay, for example. Now, these are deductive quotes because I realize that these are the quotes that I want from before I do the analysis yet. Okay. Now, based on that, I will now effect that into my Atlas.ti. The first way of deductive is I'm going to do new code, drag and drop, new code, drag and drop. Okay, so I'm going to go to my Atlas.ti project in Windows. In order to do new codes in Atlas.ti, I will go to Home, New Entities, New Code. Home, New Entities, New Code. That's the name. Okay? Home, New Entities, New Code. How many clicks there? 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3 quotes. So we can do that for all the codings, but for the purpose of saving time, I'm just going to choose one, okay, which is benefit. benefit physical, benefit psychological, benefit improve quality of life. Okay, right. I have already created free codes here. When I click on the small triangle beside codes, so I can see all my list of codes. So I'm telling Atlas.ti, these are the codes that I want. Okay. Likewise for MacBook as well, that is what I can do, which is I can click on the plus sign over here and choose new codes. Okay, just now in Windows, home, new entities, new code. So in Mac, you just click on the plus sign over here and choose new code. Very similar, I'm just going to put it benefit physical, benefit psychological, spelling, and finally benefit improve quality of life. Okay, so you see here the codes are all also there. So what I do is very easy, okay, because now I know I have a clear picture what is it that I want. So I am going to go through the data and I found, here this is talking about physical benefit. So my slide here, the slide says new code, drag and drop. So that's exactly what I'm going to do now. I select it here and I'm going to drag and drop physical benefit onto the highlighted section. So from there, there is the quotation bar and there is also the code name. So in the quotation bar, this is how it looks like. This is the name of that quotation. This is the comment section for that quotation, and it has a specific coding benefit physical. But what about something that is already there? This is talking about physical benefit as well. So I'm going to bring in physical benefit because it's bodily health. Again, okay, so this is the name, this is the comment, and this is the codings. About psychosocial here, he's talking about psychosocial, psychological. Okay? Very easy. It's like mixing and matching. I know what is it I want to find. I just go through my data that talks about it. So I'm going to go to my, here also I'm going to go to my Word document. Likewise, the situation is the first statement, it talks about physical. Okay, this. And the final statement is talking about psychological, for example. Very easy. It's like you know what are the codes already on your left-hand side. So your job is to go through the data to mix and match with the code names that you want. Okay, that is the meaning of deductive coding. Now, other types of codings that we should take a look at for deductive is list coding and quick coding. Okay? List coding is here, this one. So when I do the selection, this one is talking about, I'll just assume this is talking about physical. Okay, this is, I'm just going to choose the last one. This one is talking about improve quality of life. Okay, improve quality of life here. I do not want to drag and drop. I can do a list coding by clicking on list coding here. Okay, and then I can choose improve quality of life. Okay, it's the same thing. It is the same thing like you drag and drop improve quality of life, or you do list coding. Still, it's deductive because the code is already there. You just do the selection. Now, another type is quick coding. Okay, quick coding means this one is also talking about benefit improve quality of life, meaning if I want to code the next statement using the same code that I used last time, so I can just click quick coding and Atlas.ti will use that same coding to this particular statement. Okay, that's what it means. Deductive is divided into three. Okay, one is drag and drop, second is list coding, and third is quick coding. Okay, there is one question by our friend. Can I say that terms used in Atlas.ti for coding somehow similar in vivo in Node? Yes, that's the correct thing. In vivo, it is called Node. In Atlas.ti, it's called code. Okay? Alright, so is what I want to share with you. Now let's move on to inductive. Inductive, there are two ways. The first one is open coding. The second one is code in vivo. Okay, let's do open coding first. Let's take a look at the coding structure that we have. Here is improve quality of life. Okay, this is physical and this is psychological. So when I take a look here, it shows that how can I say here? Health outcomes. Okay, health outcomes. Here I'm gonna say when you do sports, you're gonna have a healthy lifestyle. Health outcome benefit is health outcome lah. Okay, but I cannot do a drag and drop. I also cannot do list coding because it's not there yet. So I can do open coding. Open coding means I can just give any name, any new name to this particular quotation. Okay. After highlighting, I will go to open coding over here. I click on it and I'm going to put the name to be benefit. What was it? Healthy outcome. Health outcome. Okay. It's like this. Click on it. Health outcomes. So when I do that, there will be a quotation bar, and that quotation has already been linked to the benefit health outcome. And in my code name, that code has already been added. This is inductive coding. Okay, benefit health outcomes with one groundedness. Okay, here it shows how many highlightings do I have. Okay, now, Prof. Nahafiza was asking about in vivo coding just now. I'm supposed to do open coding for Mac first. Okay, here it is. Okay, now the part that I want to talk about is here, health outcomes, right? Okay, here is health outcomes. Okay, so here I cannot do a drag and drop like similar to Windows, but I can do add coding over here. Yeah, on top here, the second option is add coding. This is open coding in MacBook. Okay. Benefit health outcomes. Very easy. Okay, because Atlas.ti will only work if we give instructions to it. If we don't give instructions, then it won't be there. Okay, click. Similar things happen. This code has been health outcomes with health outcomes over there. Okay, now I hope you can practice this on your own computer. Okay, now next is in vivo coding. How does it look in my slide? Okay, in vivo coding. In vivo is a universal term meaning verbatim or word per word. Okay, I hope I explained that. You can visualize how it works. Verbatim, word per word. In other words, it means I want to maintain the terminology used by my participants by coding that statement using the same word that I have highlighted. If I highlight the word excited, the code name will be excited. If I highlight the code name to be thrilled, my feeling is thrilled, the code name will be thrilled. If I highlight the word I cannot sleep at night, yeah, how do you feel about a certain thing? Ooh, ever since I experienced that, I cannot sleep at night, for example. Getting offer letter from this university makes me unable to sleep at night. You highlight the word unable to sleep at night. In vivo coding, the code name will be unable to sleep at night. Verbatim, word per word. So in Atlas.ti Mac is how it works. So, here I'm going to say treatment and rehabilitation. I'm going to select treatment and rehabilitation. Okay. And then I'm going to go to code in vivo. Okay, code in vivo on top there. So click on code in vivo, and the code name will be taking the exact wording that I have highlighted, word per word, verbatim, in vivo. Okay, so here when I do the selection on treatment and rehabilitation, that selection, when I click on code in vivo, the code name will be treatment and rehabilitation. So you would realize by now, if you decide to do code in vivo, you cannot highlight the entire sentence. correct? If you do highlight the entire sentence, that code name will be very long. Okay, so that is what we will not do lah. Okay, you will highlight phrase by phrase. Please avoid highlighting the sentence or the paragraph. There you go. You won't get that meaningful keywords that you want to highlight. If you do want to use in vivo coding, then you need to highlight phrase by phrase. But also, the second thing you would realize by now is if you do in vivo coding, you will end up with so many codes. That so many codes will follow the statements used by the participants. An example question. Dear student, how do you feel about studying at this university? One student says, I am happy. No problem. Highlight happy, in vivo, happy. I am thrilled. Highlight thrilled, code thrilled. I am excited. I am enthusiastic. I am ecstatic. I feel like dying. Ooh, okay, dying. Put in vivo. So at the end of the day, you are going to get so many codes that you need to revisit and see if there is any overlapping or redundancies. Very often, it will be overlapping or redundancies. Okay, because if you do inductive all the way, then you will definitely end up with a lot of codes that you need to revisit. Okay. What if foster father, sibling father, half father, father-in-law, they all mean fathers? So no problem, you can just merge the codes later on. Okay. Or likewise, orange, pear, fruit. Okay, they are all fruits. Okay, for example. Now, how to do that in Windows as well? I'm gonna click on treatment and rehabilitation here and go to code in vivo. It's the same thing. Treatment and rehabilitation, which have been added over here. Okay, I hope everybody's okay. Still okay? We're finishing, don't worry. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Now, deductive, inductive, and then we're coming to auto coding. Yeah, I think this is the last thing I want to share. I've already covered this, and then question. Okay, good. So only 3 things left: auto coding, revisiting list of codes, and groupings. Okay, based on the shared characteristics. Auto coding. If you're familiar with Control F or Command F for that matter, if you're using a Windows computer, then you would definitely be familiar with Control F. Click on Control F and you can search a specific keyword or phrase that you type. If you do MacBook, then you're going to type Command F. It's the same thing. Now, auto-coding is an extension of that. Auto-coding will help us not only to find, but it is also to code. I repeat that. Auto-coding is a feature in Atlas.ti that not only helps us to find a specific keyword, but it also helps us to code that keyword. Give an example here. Okay. Example auto-coding. Coding instructions. Okay. Now I'm going to go number 1. Okay. Example. Can I make it bigger? Because it's very small. Ding, 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 ding. Okay. Right. Okay, number 1. I want Atlas.ti. Please. Ooh, that's very big. Please find the keyword health. Okay. And number 2. Once found, I want Atlas.ti to highlight highlight the sentence containing the keyword health. Okay. Maybe I should make it smaller. It's very big. Okay. Right. Now, the one that I want to do is I want to search the keyword health. And once found, I want Atlas.ti not only to highlight the keyword health, I want Atlas.ti to highlight the entire sentence containing the keyword health. Okay. And finally, number 3, to code it. Please code it with the code name health. Oh, my spelling. Okay. So you see where I am going? I I am getting my FCI and you're getting your FCI, to find a specific keyword and to highlight the sentence containing that keyword and to code it with the code name health. Okay. Now, what keyword do we want to use? Yeah, similar to word counting. Word counting is a little bit different. Word counting is you want to find a frequency for the words. Now, you realize if we do it, I always use my son's activity book. Okay. So here's an example. This is our document. How do you know which part talks about health? Zoom, 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 zoom. This part talks about health. Zoom, zoom, zoom. This part talks about health. Flip through, get the next paragraph, next page. Ooh, it's like you're zooming your thoughts, zooming your eyes to this particular keyword. Okay, but no longer in FCI, because in FCI we will get FCI to find the keyword for us. Not only that, we want to get FCI to highlight the context in which context, C-O-N-T-E-X-T, the context in which that keyword is used, and to code it with a specific code name. Now, what keyword do we want to use? In Windows, you can do a word cloud as well as word crunch. For example, but this can only be done on a textual document, either DOC, DOX, TXT, RTF, PDF. Okay? It cannot be done on an image, video, audio file. Example, I'm going to use this document again, very famous one. Okay? Windows users, when you click on a document, you can do a word cloud by clicking on word cloud over here. Click on word cloud, and Atlas.ti will generate a cloud containing the frequency of the words available in this document. Okay? The bigger the size, the higher the frequency. Click, without clicking, bring your cursor to it. Here, the word physical appears 19 times. There's a small number. Beside it, activity 18 times, health 11 times, sport 10 times, nutrition 1 time. Okay, so if you don't want it to be 1 time, so you can just make it a little bit different. Okay, bigger or smaller, okay, depending on the size of the cloud that you want to generate. Okay, this one is for the word cloud. So what keyword should I use? So you can take a look at the suggested words. Okay, suggested words that we can do our output. Now, this is very, very useful, especially if it's a document that is the first time that you take a look at it. You want to know what are the things being mentioned or being discussed in that paper. The higher the frequency, the assumption is more emphasis is given to it. Now, let's take a look again, open the document. Apart from doing a word cloud, you can do a word list. Okay? It's like getting a list of the words being mentioned in this document and how many times it appears. It's like this. So I'm going to sort it based on count, activity, physical, health, benefits, sport, different spelling, also different words, effects, evidence. These are the keywords that I potentially can use for my autocoding. Yes, this is the word frequency, Zeto. Okay, this is the word frequency, how many times it appears in that document. If you use a MacBook, okay, for example, a MacBook cannot do a word cloud yet, okay, but I must need to understand that they are developing it. But we can do a word list, okay. Let's go to analysis, word cruncher. The name is word cruncher. Click on it and choose which document that you want. I did that on document number 2 just now, and I can sort it based on count. It looks like it even covers and the of physical, so I'm going to exclude the list from English. So it's going to come up. It will remove and of, the, is, over, okay, under. Okay, so all those words will be removed. Physical, activity, health, sports, can, benefits, effects, evidence. So these are the words. Okay, I can also do on different documents, separate counts by objects. Okay, for example, here, physical activity, health, sports. Again, Okay. Likewise, for Windows as well, I forgot to mention that you can exclude. If you go to all, even is of the will be counted, but when you click exclude, then it will exclude the ones that we potentially do not want lah. Okay, like this activity, physical benefit. So now let's head on to our instructions in. I've taken so much time from you. I'm sorry. Next time we should do a daytime. Okay, we shouldn't do at night. Please find the keyword health because I did a word cloud and word list. I found I want to do a word list. Okay, how to do for Malay language? Malay language, auto coding you can do on Malay language, but the exclusion we don't have Malay language yet. So you can create a new list if Radin is using Malay Windows. You can just click on the edit stop and go list, and you can create a new list. Okay, create a new list, Malay for example. So this is you can add on yang tiada, adalah, ialah, so you can take out those words lah. Depending on your language. But if your paper is in Malay and you want to do auto coding for that Malay, then no problem. You can just put in the keyword to be in Malay language. Please find the keyword sukan, kesihatan. Highlight the sentence containing the word kesihatan. Please code it with the code name kesihatan, for example lah. Okay? And just to let you know, I'm sure you're aware, Atlas.ti is not only used for English language. You can use Spanish. If you know Spanish, we have users from all over the world. Mandarin, Arabic languages, all those keywords, all those languages are supported in Atlas.ti. You can do a selection or auto coding on that particular keyword as well. Okay, can we do word cloud? Okay. Can we do word cloud and word list for all documents simultaneously? Yes, definitely can. Thank you, Dr. Guzman, for asking. So if you do the word cloud, for example, here is Windows, you can just check mark on the documents that has. So these are all many documents that you can do the word cloud. Okay, so it will let you know, okay, how many is there. This is an image, it will not change anything. Okay, for example, 32 on multiple documents. Likewise in Windows, in MacBook as well, you can just do a check mark on these particular documents and they will change accordingly based on separate column, separate document. It's already stopped. What I'm going to do analysis, boot cruncher if you're using a MacBook, so you can just check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark. I can do check mark, a lot of check marks. And I can do separate columns by objects, exclude English. So it will take some time for you to go be able to familiarize. The excluded words are still here. Okay, all words, excluded words. Who is supposed to exclude? I think is I have used extensively now. Okay, all right. Due to the interest of time, I will now teach you how to do auto coding. Some of you are already familiar with this, but anyway, the instructions is find a specific keyword, highlight the sentence, put it with a specific code name. For MacBook, to do that, you can go to code, auto coding, code, auto coding. On auto coding, find the keyword health. Okay, definitely to ignore keys because I don't mind if it's small letters, capital letters, or some of the letters are small capital letters. Okay, and then extending to the sentence. Yeah, of course, there are other options here, exact match, word, paragraph, chapter, or the entire document you want to highlight it, for example. So now I'm going to choose sentence. In which document? The document that I am opening. You can also do on all documents, okay, or within a specific document group. And I want to code it with a specific code name. In MacBook, I will just go to the plus sign and choose new code to be health. Okay, and so now I can choose health. Okay, so this fulfills my instructions just now. Find a keyword health. Once found, please highlight the sentence containing that keyword and please code it with the code name health. So what I do, I will just now go to next. So Atlas.ti will bring me to the first sentence containing the keyword health. This is a URL and this is the title. I don't want it. Yeah, I don't want it. But here, this may be important. So I will code it. If I code it, Atlas.ti will code it. Bring me to the next one. Oops, I missed that one. I can go previous. I can go next, next. I think this is relevant. Code it, next, because I don't want it. I'm going to code it. So I can just choose. From there, if you go next, 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 or previous, you can actually control the quality of your quotations. If you don't want it, you go next. If you want it, you choose code. Alternatively, you can also click on code all. I don't advise you to anyway. If you click on code all, it will not be one by one. It will be entirely coded and highlighted with health, okay? Even though it captures the header, footer, title, subtitle, your own questions. If you are the interviewer, you don't put your own questions, you put the respondent's answer, for example. Journal name, the list of references, for example, you don't want that. Okay, so I don't recommend you to put all. Please put on next, previous, next, put next, put lah. Okay, from that method. Likewise in Windows as well. Okay, so you can go to open the document, go to auto coding. From there, search the keyword health. Ignore case because I don't mind it's capital letters or small letters. Don't change anything over here. Then you're going to go to expand to sentence. Select the code name because we don't have that code name yet. You can create a new code for health. Okay, create. And then this is important because Windows does not have next or previous, but it has this confirm matches. It works the same way, so you don't have to worry. Okay, confirm matches, it means to confirm matches. I realized there is an instruction here. Ooh, okay, previously there's no instruction, but it seems they've added the instruction just in case you were wondering. Okay, here, start. I will bring you to the first sentence. Do I want it? No, skip it. Title, skip it. Ooh, important, code it. Okay. Important. Skip it, code it. Okay. Now what is it that I am doing? I am checking one by one because I need to control the quality of my quotations. Please never ever do without confirming matches. Okay. For Mac, do not code all. Please go next or previous so that you can read and see if it's relevant or not. Then you code it. If it's not relevant, you don't code it lah. Okay. Now confirm matches each time. In order to skip it, code it. Okay, for example. Now, just within a few seconds, I can see an increase in my coding system for health with foregroundedness. How do I check that? Double click on the code name. It will bring me, single click on any one of these. It will bring me back to the original location. Now, how many among us have that problem that I think I have read this somewhere, but I cannot remember where? Okay? It is actually simple in order to link back to the sections that you have already coded earlier on. Is everybody okay? It's very late at night. I hope to be able to close the session. Yeah? Any questions? Am I missing any of your questions? No, not yet. Okay? Right. So I'm going to go back to my slide. Okay, thank you so much for staying with me. It's already towards the end. Okay. Next. Okay, here. Auto coding, to find and to code. Please consider practicing that. Yeah. And now let's revisit the list of codes. Is there any overlappings or redundancies? This is a very important stage, okay, whereby we need to take a look at our codes. So we need to revisit our list of codes, and so that we can have a clean code. We don't want codes that are overlapping in our reporting later on. It's difficult for us to justify why you have two codes but different things. No, you do not have to click on regex unless you are using two terms, okay, two words. For example, Proton Saga then you have to click on regex lah. Okay, for Mac. Okay, good. Very good. Now, I want to talk about revisiting our list of codes. Let's do Atlas.ti Mac first. What is... Yes, if Anasuya wants to do that, then you can activate the regex function in MacBook. Okay. Now, codes. For codes, some of these could be overlapping. Okay. I find that treatment and health outcomes are similar. Okay. Treatment and health outcomes are similar. At the moment, I have health outcome. Oops, sorry. Okay. I have health outcomes one quotation. I have treatment and rehabilitation one quotation. So I want to merge them. Yeah, I want to merge them by clicking on the code. Okay, that I want to merge. Okay, and I'm gonna. This instruction works for MacBook first. Okay, click on the code name and drag it to the code that you want to maintain. Drop, and the system will ask merge code. There are a lot of things. We're going to learn more about it in the following module number 4. Okay. So for module number 3, what is relevant is the first option. Merge treatment and rehabilitation into health outcomes. I do that again. Okay. Treatment and rehabilitation has one groundedness. Health outcomes has one groundedness. So I'm going to click on treatment and rehabilitation, drag it onto health outcomes. Drop, I can choose merge code. Click on it, and the system will now bring treatment and rehabilitation into health outcomes so that it has two groundedness. Are you okay? Let me just show you. Here, treatment and rehabilitation was the initial one, treatment and rehabilitation, but now it has been named health outcomes because we have merged it accordingly. Now, merging is very important, especially that you have two key terms which actually bring the same meaning. Okay? See it? Before I go to Windows, just to demonstrate that, I'm going to go to codes, double click on the code manager here in order to open the code manager. Okay? Health outcome and treatment and rehabilitation. Okay? Again, treatment and rehabilitation has one groundedness. Health outcome has one groundedness. I want to merge these two, health outcome and treatment and rehabilitation. We don't drag them. In Windows, we simply click on the button merge codes over here. Merge codes, okay? Click on merge codes, and the system will ask me which one do I want to maintain. I want to maintain benefit health outcome, so that treatment and rehabilitation will go into health outcome. Okay, I'm going to click on merge codes. That's it. Okay, treatment and rehabilitation code with one groundedness has been brought into health outcome. So now health outcome has two groundedness. You can do this for thrilled, excited, ecstatic, killing myself because I'm so happy. Yeah? Because I got this offer letter to come to the university, for example. Do they mean the same thing? Do you think they mean the same thing? If you do, put them into the same code. Okay? Same code. Merge them accordingly. Are you okay? You okay, everyone? Good, good. Okay, now is the last thing I want to cover before we leave for today. It is group codes based on shared characteristics. This is super easy. It's super easy because we have already done document group. Document group was based on any shared characteristic of that document. They could be coming from the same case. They could be having the same occupational role. They could be from the same year of publication, same journal, same data collection method, same data collection site, for example. Here, the same thing. We want to create groups based on the codes that has shared characteristic. So in MacBook, this is how you do it. Open the code manager, double click on the codes over here, Now the idea behind creating this, okay, the interesting part is we have already learned how to put the prefixes of the questions that we asked in front of the codes. The actual code is physical, psychological, and improve quality of life. But I have demonstrated to you, in order to be clearer, we are supposed to give prefixes based on the key terms that we ask the question. If the key term is activity, then you put ACT. Frequency, you put FRQ. Benefit, BFT, for example. Why? Because we want to identify that these codes are actually referring to that particular key concept that I want to say. This is the theme that I want. So therefore, saying that in Atlas.ti, okay, anything with BFT in front seems to be can you ignore this because this comes from my Twitter import last time when I demonstrated it to you. Okay? I'm sure you don't have anything here yet, so why not? I just simply click and delete this, okay, for the avoidance of doubt. Now, benefit, health outcomes, improve quality of life, physical, psychological, they are actually referring to which theme? The theme of benefit of sports. Drag and drop. Okay? We select these codes first, and then we drag them to the left-hand side over here and drop. And the system will create a code group. Now, before you click on somewhere, make sure you rename that code group in the form of benefits of sports. Okay? Now, that's the best part. When you of sports, you will see a small number beside it. Here it is. It is the size of benefit of sports, which is 4. Health outcome, improve quality of life, physical as well as psychological. Are you okay? Now, we group them together. What if I create on the following codes as well? Activity, jogging, frequency, weekly, benefit, problem, here. Now, jogging, football, and swimming will be under the theme of activity of sports. Weekly, fortnightly, and monthly will be under frequency of engaging in sports. Injury, accident, financial insurance, and precaution will be under problem. Okay? So I hope you can follow me so far. Okay? Because everybody have to do this on your own Atlas.ti projects. So let's move on to Windows. It's the same thing. Okay, here is the panel for code groups. At the moment, we don't have anything yet. So I'm going to select the ones that have the prefix benefit so that I can group them into benefits over here. Drop, and the system asks me what is the name that I want. Benefits of sports. Click on create. Okay, and there it is. Okay, benefits of sports. Okay. What is the significance of doing this? We are going to cover this in the next module. Okay, but I still want to demonstrate it a little bit. So why? Because it will facilitate in our reporting. Definitely. Okay. Why? Because benefits of sports, there are 4 benefits of sports: health outcome, improve quality of life, physical, and psychological. So that when you in the output visualization, which we will be covering in proper in module number 4 in today's time, I think, yeah, is you can view visualization of it. Benefit of sports. There are, it's taking some time. Okay. Opening ad hoc network. There it is. Okay, I'm just gonna show it to you. Benefits of sports. It will just come out to show to us these are the things that the data reveal. There are 4 types of benefits of sports. Okay, we'll do this in proper in our next class. Okay, likewise for Maxwell, that is what you achieve. Similarly, by right-clicking and choosing opening network, it's the same thing like what our friends in Windows would have achieved lah. Okay, that's the best part of it, that you can actually visualize how you want it to be in your project. Okay, Close the delete network. Okay. All right. So I think I have exceeded a lot of time tonight. I'm sorry for taking your time. I'm so excited again. That's my weakness when I talk about Atlas. I become so weak again. I become so excited. I cannot stop myself from talking. I hope this is beneficial for you. This is new information for you. Even if it's not new, maybe it's a refresher course for you. Thank you for staying until the end. And we can continue our discussion in the group. Okay. All right. So that's it. Any questions? Last questions? Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. And we will see you again. Yeah. Apologies for the time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.